So let's import our low poly. And let's hit OK. Let's go to our texture set settings and let's see how this bakes. Change this to 4K. Grab our high poly. Trim1. Change our frontal distance. And our rear distance. Go down to anti-aliasing 8x8 and let's start baking. Done, and let's see how this came out. Came out pretty good. And let's change this from 1K in the texture set settings to we can do 2K or 4K, it doesn't matter. I'll do 2K for now and just export out the 4K. Now what I want to do is go to my smart materials and go to that really shiny black material, that mirror we used earlier, this glass film dirty mirror, the really long name. So once I plaster this on here, drag and drop style, it's really shiny and we want to dial this down. So let's go to the layer folder, drop down, let's go to glass. Remember, we want to up the roughness. This looks okay, right around here. I might make it a little bit, change the color a little bit, make it a little darker. There's a nice little ambient occlusion, dirt map here. It looks really good. Now I'm going to close this out. And now what I want to do as well is add another material. And here it is, the chrome blue material. I just want to drag this underneath the dirty mirror, or if you drag it on top, you could always drag it underneath later. And then I'm going to, add a white mask to this top layer. So when I go to my brushes and use my Arctic heavy sponge, we can start to dial back a little bit on this. So what I want to do is change the stroke opacity as well as the flow. Let's see what we have here. This looks better. And it really doesn't matter if we cover over this part right now because we're going to be adding that little material that we've been adding. So I just want to get rid of some of this, dial in on this a little bit. Looks good. We probably won't even see this area, but we'll just do it anyway. I'm not going to see the bottom. So now that we're done with this color, what I now want to do is drag that sci-fi material. So we'll go to smart materials. We'll find that fabric sci-fi and dive inside of there. Now let's go to the mask and go to hex so we can change the pattern size. So let's go up, let's scale this down a little bit. And this is a fine size here, so we'll leave that. Change that down. Now let's go to the color and let's make this color. We could do orange, but I think the orange is a little too much right now, so we'll change this to a lighter white color. So now we can scroll down in the layers and go to the base color and make this black. Now let's close out the folder and we'll right click on this layer and add a black mask. And at this point we can turn on our mirror here, our symmetry, so we can see that it's going to be directly in this middle. Now let's change our brush size back to the regular hard brush. And we can just zoom in and we can start to work on this area on the inside. And I will mention it again, guys, you can do whatever material or style you want. This is just something I chose to do. That looks good. And I'm gonna do one last thing on the way out. I was thinking about making this in a mist of color so it can, brighten up the map once we go into Unreal. But instead, I'll just drag that orange material from the smart materials that we've been using, the glossy. Drag and drop. And I like this little detail here, so I'll leave it. And then I'll just right click and add a black mask. And then, just continue. And I like the ambient occlusion shadow that's outlining this to give it more depth. That's a nice little touch to it. My strokes bigger. Remember, you can hold down Shift to get a straight line. That's all I'm doing. Alright, now we're done inside of Substance Painter. Now we can export these textures out. I'll go to File, Export. For the directory, go to Low Poly. I have my new folder created already. Trim1 textures. I'll select that folder. And now I'll choose my Unreal Engine 4 packed template. And for the size will be 4K. And we can export this. And while that's exporting, I'll bring my low poly model into the low poly textures. Grab my low poly model, drag it into Trim1 textures, and we're done. So I'll catch you guys in the next video.